second episode kicks off with Joe meeting CIA agent Caitlin Meade. Meade, to whom Joe reports, debriefs her about her latest mission involving Kamal Amrohi, a businessman with suspected ties to terrorist groups. Joe updates Meade on her asset, Cruz Manuelos, who has successfully infiltrated the circle of Aaliyah Amrohi, Kamal's daughter. With Cruz now stationed in Paris while Joe remains in New York, Meade grants her full control over the operation, but cautions against keeping assets in close proximity to their targets. Later, Meade shifts the conversation to Joe's personal life, subtly alluding to past family trauma. Meanwhile, Joe's teenage daughter, Kate, gets into a fight at school after facing racial harassment. Neal, Joe's husband and a dedicated doctor, is struggling to care for their 4-year-old daughter, who has been diagnosed with an aggressive brain cancer. When Kate's confrontation at school escalates, Neal is forced to pick her up and, frustrated with her behavior, takes away her phone. That evening, Joe returns home to a tense atmosphere but manages to diffuse the situation, comforting her family before spending the night with Neal. As the weight of her double life bears down on her, Joe wrestles with the harsh realities of her work, her family's suffering, and the impossible choices she must make. As the episode progresses, tensions rise on both personal and professional fronts. During a reconstructive surgery, a young beauty queen tragically passes away on the operating table, leaving the surgeon reflecting on the harsh reality that some of his patients won't even make it to adulthood. Meanwhile, Joe's personal life faces another shakeup. Kate, still reeling from her struggles, announces she wants to live with her father, hinting at an impending divorce. However, professional obligations soon pull Joe and Neal apart once again, forcing them to put their issues on hold. The stress of parenting takes a toll, with Joe facing backlash about Kate's behavior, another school fight, another crisis to manage. At home, the tension momentarily eases with a simple family dinner, though the cracks in their lives are impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, across the world, Cruz's situation takes a terrifying turn. While out on a late-night run, she is ambushed and kidnapped from her apartment. A group of thugs holds her captive, subjecting her to brutal torture. In a shocking revelation, it turns out Joe orchestrated Cruz's abduction as part of a grueling SEER, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape test, a high-risk training exercise meant to push Cruz to her limits. Joe knows the mission will eventually put Cruz in real danger, and she needs to assess how long she can endure captivity before breaking. As Cruz fights to survive the ordeal, Joe coldly observes, calculating just how much time she has before she'll need to launch an actual rescue. The stakes are higher than ever, and with lives hanging in the balance, the question remains: how far is Joe willing to go to complete her mission? After a brief exchange about Cruz's past, Joe coldly leaves her to endure another brutal round of torture. The relentless physical assault continues until one of the officers on duty intervenes, abruptly halting the exercise. Joe justifies her methods, explaining that Cruz is essentially on a suicide mission. Knowing her breaking point is essential. However, after witnessing the extent of the damage, Joe decides to call off the test and takes Cruz to a secure house where the rest of the Lioness program team is stationed. Physically battered and emotionally drained, Cruz is left to process the ordeal. The trauma lingers as she struggles to come to terms with what Joe put her through. The program demands survival, but at what cost? Upon arriving at the Safehouse, Cruz is introduced to her new teammates under the leadership of Bobby. She is assigned a room and, still reeling from the brutal training, silently navigates her new reality. A hot shower does little to wash away the pain, and a tense drink with her fellow operatives ends with a confession. She was subjected to a SEER exam. The revelation enrages Bobby, who sees the test as an extreme and unauthorized measure. Fueled by anger and concern for Cruz, Bobby resolves to confront leadership, ensuring that Cruz's ordeal does not go unchallenged. The episode closes with lingering distrust. Cruz, now wary of Joe's methods, and Bobby, determined to advocate for her newest recruit. Determined to get justice for Cruz, Bobby and her team track down the police officers responsible for administering the brutal SERE exam. They find them at a local pub, and tensions quickly escalate into an all-out bar brawl. The fight is intense, but amidst the chaos, one of the officers drops a bombshell. Joe had already signed off on the test, making it a sanctioned part of the operation. Just as things spiral further, Cruz receives an unexpected call from Aaliyah, her target. The call forces Bobby and the team to abandon the fight immediately. On the other end of the line, Aaliyah reveals that she's in Atlanta and eagerly anticipates seeing Cruz. Thinking on her feet, Cruz tries to dodge the meeting by claiming she was in a car accident, but Aaliyah isn't easily swayed. She insists on meeting, and Cruz has no choice but to agree. Despite the recent trauma she endured, Cruz remains committed to her mission. Their brief but warm conversation suggests that she has successfully gained Aaliyah's trust, an essential step in infiltrating her inner circle. The deeper Cruz gets, the higher the stakes become, and as the episode ends, it's clear that the real danger is only just beginning. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thank you for watching.